Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Little Big Will. This is my first broadcast. I'm going to bring to you today the BCS Top 10. Alright, so for you football players out there, you already know how the BCS looks. Now, let's break it down a little bit. Number one, LSU. Now, LSU, historically, is pretty dominant team. They're very powerful, brutes, and being an SEC team, unfortunately, gives them a little bit of an advantage, just because for some reason, football world has declared SEC God's gift to football. Bullshit, in my opinion, but you know what? I'm a one-man team. So, LSU. They have been, so far this season, pretty dominant in just about every game they have played. Let's look at the stats real quick. Now, they started off the season with Oregon. At the time, was number 3. And they were ranked number 4, or 3-4. And that is, in any book, that is a hard game. And they met at a neutral stadium in Texas at the Cowboy Stadium, and it was a pretty brutal game. I remember watching that game, back and forth. Oregon with their triple threat in the background with 3 running backs, and then their quarterback Darren Thomas is just a That's a combination you don't want to mess with. On the LSU side, their defense has been, last year was phenomenal, and I was actually surprised they weren't in the championship game. To be honest, I was. LSU guys, you failed me. Put it that way. Now, if you look at the defense this year so far, they have been pretty much doing the exact same thing on a larger scale. Brandon Taylor and Tyrann Mathieu have pretty much led the team in almost every category. So you look at the stats here, Tyrann Mathieu has 29 tackles solo, 13 assisted tackles. Brandon Taylor has 24 solos, 20 assisted. Just those two right there, 29-24, followed by Eric Reed with 23 of his own, and Simon of 21. Name any other team that has 4 players in the 20s in tackles. Alright, we're only, seventh week? Yeah. 7 games. They're averaging 4 tackles a game apiece. That's pretty impressive, and I hate to say it, but LSU has earned their number 1 spot. Oklahoma started, my Sooners, as you can tell, I'm a Sooner fan. Oklahoma started as number 1. LSU has earned the spot. They started with Oregon, then we played some Northwestern State, don't know who the hell they are. Then they played Mississippi State, who was 25th at the time, again, SEC school, and then West Virginia. They went to West Virginia, and that was impressive. With College game day, that was impressive. I was expecting, tight game, because West Virginia, I like West Virginia. They're a good team, solid team, and they know how to run up the score when they want to, and I was expecting a closer game, except for a 47-21 blowout. Alright, and then they hosted Kentucky, no surprise there, but they did not win by as much as I was expecting, 35-7, not nearly what I was expecting. Then they hosted Florida. Now, I was expecting this to be a bloodbath. It wasn't. In any sense of the word, it was not. 41-11. Florida laid down, bent over, and here, half stop. And then they played Tennessee last week, knockoff team. Now next week they do have Auburn. Now Auburn has not done so well this year. They have just fallen off the bus without Cameron Newton and Nick Fairley. So they've fallen off the bus, but Auburn is still ranked 19th. So the entire 25 school does mean they've done something right this year. And then they have a bye week, and then they go to Alabama. All right, that's supposed to be the game of the year, supposedly. I mean, at 1-2, obviously, it's going to be a big gas game. And moving into Alabama themselves. See, the thing about Alabama, though, this year, and you guys might hate me, but I think they're overrated this year. They have not done a very spectacular job. And look who they've played. They've played Kent State. They beat Penn State at Penn State, but guess what? Penn State's not ranked. So, still, not that great. They played North Texas. And then they hosted Arkansas. Okay, I'll give them that. That was a good game, 38-14. Alabama played a pretty good game. And then they went to Florida, handled them pretty well, 38-10. Unfortunately with LSU and Alabama, Florida, you think they'd be doing better, but they're not. Unfortunately, they had those two, but Florida's just not doing great. So, unfortunately, I don't want to make that a big statement. And then they played Vanderbilt. Okay. and then at Ole Miss. Going to play the Rebels is never an easy game ever. Just the Rebels, they're one of those teams, sleeper teams you could say. They just kind of sit there, and then when they want to pounce, they pounce. So I'm hoping the Rebels pick it up. I really do. Next week, though, they're hosting Tennessee, another kickback knockoff team. I'm expecting. And they also have a week off, and then the big game versus LSU. Now on November 5th, that is supposed to be a very, very, very big. It's gonna be a bloodbath. I mean, 1 and 2, we will find out who is the number 1 team. Between the, I know I want my Sooners to be number 1. Right now, as the rankings say, that will decide it right there, 1 and 2. Now, unfortunately, the funny part is that I just watched ESPN. The initial poll rankings says that LSU and Alabama will be in the BCS championship game. If that happens, I'm gonna shoot someone. Just put it right there. You have it. It's right here. Now, number 3 team, my Sooners. Started off number 1. We've kind of dropped down in the rankings. I mean, a little hurt that we got skipped by Alabama. I don't know what they've done this year, but okay. And for the record, your running back, Mr. Richardson, you are not a Heisman candidate. No matter what you say, you are not a Heisman candidate. Back to Oklahoma. We have not played Oklahoma football. Just put it that way. We played Tulsa. Good warm-up game, and then we went to Florida State. They were ranked number 5th at the time, but if you look at them now, that win really doesn't look that good. Only won by 10. And then we hosted Missouri. Now Oklahoma was supposed to be pretty dominant at home. We did not do it. Missouri fought their asses off, and kept us sweating the whole game. Then we hosted Ball State, who gives a shit. Then we played Texas in Arlington. Good game, very, very tough game, but we kicked the shit out of them. And then we played Kansas. Now that right there, unfortunately, is why I can't give the Sooners number 2. We did not play. Last week, Oklahoma State kicked the crap out of Texas. Was it 70-7 or something like that? Yeah. We won 47-17. Not a very good game. Now, next week, we host Texas Tech. That is going to be a shootout. If we play the way we did against Kansas at home, we will not win. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a Sooners fan. I love the Sooners, but we will not beat Texas Tech with the Kansas game. We just won't. Then we go to Kansas State. Now, Kansas State is 6-0. All right, guys. Sooners, you got to pick it up. You went to Kansas, probably the worst team in the FBS right now, and won by 30. That's it. Got to pick it up. All right. Now, moving on, number 4, Cowboys. Oklahoma State Cowboys. My Sooners in-state rivalry. And probably the most high-proficient offense in the country. Maybe except for Houston, but I want to feel like looking stats on that. Now, Oklahoma State last year probably had the most yards per game in history. I don't know. I want to look that up. I'll look it up later. Yeah, Oklahoma State this year has, I think, scored the most points per game. I think they are currently number 1. They are number 2 in yards per game, though, with over 570, I believe. Yeah, and they have shown it this year. If you look at their scores. I mean, they played Louisiana, and they kicked the crap out of Arizona. And they went to Tulsa and Texas A&M. That Texas A&M game, that was a showdown. I'm surprised. Texas A&M blew a huge lead. Oklahoma State came back, won big, 30-29, good game. And they hosted Kansas, blew the hell out of it. 70-28. I was wrong with the score. And then they went to Texas and handled them pretty well, which is funny because Oklahoma smacked Texas last week, and then Oklahoma State barely beat them, 38-26. Now they're going to Missouri. Now Missouri gave Oklahoma a problem, so I'm expecting the same thing. Oklahoma State going to Missouri, and then they host Baylor. Now, do not count Baylor out. Baylor with Robert Griffin at the helm has been phenomenal this year. Now it's really surprising me to say this because for the last 10 years that I've been really paying attention, I have never seen Baylor do well, and they are doing phenomenally. They are 6-1 with their one loss to Kansas State. I was sad to see that, but it was a great game. I think they have 2 losses now. Yes, they lost to Texas A&M. Yeah, they got handled by Texas A&M. So, and then Oklahoma State is hosting Kansas State. So, a couple big games coming up for Oklahoma State. Their number 4 is going to have to be earned. Now, number 5, the Broncos. probably the most underrated team in the country, the Boise State Broncos, and I feel bad for you guys. You, for the last 5 years, once you beat my student, you just have been a prominence that no one has given a whole lot of credit to. Unfortunately, that loss to Nevada last year, or 2 years ago, I don't know, that loss to Nevada hurt you guys, and I feel bad for it, but you guys have been phenomenal, and I really wish you'd have a shot at the championship. I really do. But, you started off really good. You beat Georgia in Georgia. You beat Tulsa, and you beat Nevada again, got your revenge. So, I really do hope the Broncos do well, because I like you guys. Kellen Moore, you have been absolutely phenomenal the last 4 years. I have a feeling he's going to be a huge Heisman candidate. And that number 5 spot is well earned by the Broncos. It really is. So I hope you guys do great. I don't see a whole lot. I'm looking at your schedule right now. Got TCU left. So if you can smack the crap out of TCU, I think you will do really well. And pray to God that, that some of the other teams are going to, at least 3 of the teams, LSU, Alabama, and Oklahoma State, all lose. So, alright, number 6, Wisconsin. You guys have just been ball busters all year. I'll admit, I'm surprised. I did not give you guys any credit at all at the beginning of the year. But you have just been breaking necks all year. Starting off UNLV 51-17 at home against Oregon State, 35-0 at Northern Illinois, 49-7 versus South Dakota 59-10, Nebraska 48-17, Indiana 59-7. And you guys just crunching everybody. Just took like a steamroller and just plowed them all over. So, but now the challenge begins. You got Michigan State next week. Michigan State, great shootout with Michigan yesterday. That was a great game. Michigan State, I believe, is ranked, 17th, I think? No, I think they moved up to 17th. I'm not entirely certain. I'll have to go and look at that later. And then you're going to Ohio State. Now, Ohio State hasn't been doing great this year, but you're going there. Never easy to do that. Never easy to go to Ohio State and you beat them. So I'm expecting a great game out of that. Then they host Purdue. It's pretty much downhill from there. Now, Clemson, another surprising team, just like the Badgers. I was not expecting this, but I am very happy to see this. I like the ACC, like Florida State. I like them. I hate Miami and Hurricanes. Sorry guys, I just don't like you guys. But Clemson, I am very happy to see an ACC team in the top 5, or top 10, I should say. It is very good to see this. You guys have well earned it, especially with that shootout last week against Maryland, 56-45, and that was a tight one all the way into literally the last few minutes of the game. My heart was racing for you guys. It was. You have earned it. You've played Auburn, you've played Florida State, at Virginia Tech, Boston College, at Maryland. You have not had an easy road, and you have earned every step of the way. And the steps not over. You still have North Carolina and Georgia Tech coming in, and you're going to South Carolina. So you guys still have a stretch ahead of you, but you have earned your stripes and your paws, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. But you have done it, and I am impressed to see that. Stanford, number 8. Now, Stanford usually is a team like Wisconsin. Their stats and scores don't exactly show it the same way, but they haven't slowed down yet. They played at San Jose State and Duke. Okay, handled Arizona easily, and UCLA and Colorado, Washington State. All right, but this just getting started. Next week they're going to. Next week they're hosting Washington. Now Washington is ranked now. Now Washington, another sleeper team. They like to buzz balls. So I'm expecting a good game out of that. Then they're going to USC. USC can't do a lot anymore just because you had trouble. Reggie Bush, it's your fault. But And then they're going to Oregon State. So they've got Washington, USC, a break with Oregon State. But then they have Oregon, Cal, and Notre Dame. It's going to be, they have a tough stretch ahead of them. I am looking forward to this. And I have a feeling whoever wins the Stanford Oregon game, that was the North right there. That will be the North. And because Oregon is a very tough team and they're fighting hard. Stanford with luck, Another Heisman contender. He can do it all. I mean, if any of y'all haven't seen that tackle he made last year, look it up. Just look it up. Now, number 9, Arkansas, another SEC school, and it sickens me to see 3 teams in the top 10 from SEC. But you know what? It is what it is. Because guess what? They haven't had an easy schedule as well. Their one loss has come to Alabama, and it was a hard-fought loss. You can't do it. And then they, a spectacular win over Texas A&M. They fought back and won that one. Texas A&M pretty much imploded, and then they beat Auburn last week, or 2 weeks ago. So Arkansas has not had an easy road as well. And then they have Ole Miss still. They have South Carolina and LSU. They end the season with LSU. Hey, Arkansas, good luck. That's all I can say. Just good luck. And then round out the top 10, Oregon Ducks. These guys have slowly become one of my favorite teams to watch. Not just because my roommate was a huge Oregon fan. He's talking me into it, but they're exciting. I like Chip Kelly. I mean, come on. A nobody coach out of New Hampshire, all of a sudden, bam, takes over D1 school. What does he do? He runs all over the D1. His high-powered, high-speed, just go, 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 go. Has just been killing everyone. LSU was how LSU kept up with them, I don't know. But LSU's defense is spectacular, so not really surprised there. And then since then, Oregon's just been on a steamroll. I mean, the crap out of Nevada, Missouri State, Arizona, Cal, Arizona State. I mean, that was a good game last week. So, they have a pretty easy slide, Colorado and Washington State. And then the trouble starts. We got Washington, Stanford, USC, back to back to back. Luckily they're at home with USC, but they're going to Washington and Stanford. So they're kind of in trouble. So Washington, big rivalry game. Stanford, that is the North right there. That is the North game. Pac-12 North. So whoever wins that, I think will actually win the Pac-12, because no one in the South can or will do. I mean, Arizona State is expected to win the South, but Oregon already beat them once. I have a feeling they can do it again. So we will see about that. But it is a very, very phenomenal, very high-powered top 10. I mean, LSU, Alabama, Oklahoma State, Boise State, Wisconsin, Clemson, Stanford, Arkansas, and Oregon. I mean, apart from Clemson, I guess, and Arkansas, I mean, 8 of those top 10 were expected to be at the beginning of the year. And guess what? They are. And they have earned every single step of the way. So, that is the BCS top 10, guys. So this is my first video, so any comments, what I think you should do better, be perfect. Anyways, this is Little Big Will. Have a good one.